Hope you guys are doing good. Sorry I'm a little late. Also going live, it like glitched out on me. I was taking the thumbnail and it was literally like counting down and then it just went live because it just wanted to. So just weird Mercury retrograde stuff. Also, just a little bit of a disclaimer before we go ahead and get started. I am very activated, so just activation warning. Actually, you know what? Let me put my hair up. That was the other reason why I want to take a thumbnail because I didn't really know how my hair was looking. Um, anyway, we're just off to this kind of start today. By the way, for those who are catching this later, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. I am Island Turtle, and this is BOMISpirit, and this is the weekly intuitive astrology reading. Even though, yes, we are starting it on Tuesday, not Monday, but it is what it is. The way this works, I go over the astrology of the week, I give you my 2 cents on it, and then we go ahead and do some channel messages and cards. Now, if you are more into the channel messages and cards, it's time stamped. And just let you know, this week in particular, oh my God, I'm so like, whoa. This week in particular, there are a lot of forces at play. So this is also why I was late, because I needed extra time to organize everything in a way that it can be communicated in a way that can best be utilized for you guys. Basically just an efficient way. So I'm going to start with a good little just paraphrasing of what's going on. And then we'll get into the deep dive of astrology and then the channel messages and cards. And like I said, everything will be timestamped as well. So whatever your fancy is, there's a timestamp for it. Okay? I am just going to take a minute to just ground up some of this energy. I don't know if you guys feel it, but it's like, it's intense over here. Let's see what's going on. I have a Scorpio stellium, Mars and Sag. Good to see you. How you feel today? How do I feel today? Better than yesterday, that's for sure. Hold on, let me do this hair situation, and then we will get back into it. Ah, am I feeling that? I don't know if I'm feeling that. Actually, maybe I will just keep it down. Just a little frizzy today, which is okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it. It's fine. It's no big deal. How am I feeling today? I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better. I got a little bit of sleep. Not a little sleep. Compared to no sleep the night before. But I'm working through a lot of energy. I'm working through a lot of energy right now. And it's an intense week. The full moon was yesterday. It's a lot of energy going on. And like I said, there's also some personal stuff I'm dealing with too that I'm still dealing with. But yeah, I am doing good though. I'm doing good. I hope you guys are doing good too. It looks good. Oh, thank you. What do you think of being a Taurus sun and Scorpio rising? Well, I don't know the rest of your chart, but I think that's actually kind of nice. I mean, to have your sun in your seventh house, like, yeah, there's probably a strong desire and or not, well, maybe fixation, I don't know the rest of your chart, on relationships, but being a Scorpio rising, that would only help you anyway, because relationships would probably be the way that you would not only feel supported, but also feel very satisfied and also deep dive into yourself. So I don't really have any other opinions beyond that. Let me just get my pen here. And you know what? I think I do need like one more minute to just like. So if you guys want to ground with me, by all means, I'm not going to guide you through anything. I'm just moving the energy through my body. But yeah, I'm going to take another minute while I'm live here with you guys because my head just feels like it's spinning. Mm. Oh, so much better. Oh, okay. All right. What's going on? I'm fine, you guys. Honestly, what's going on with her health? I'm fine. Like I said, just no sleep slash personal stuff. Um, just it happens. It happens. Okay. I just joined, but girl, I gassed you look ethereal. Oh, thank you. I'll take that. I'll take that. Okay. So let's go over the overview at 5:45. So this is still a week of continuing to balance a lot of forces, and I'm actually going to like define some of these forces for you, because as we continue in the explanation of what's going on this week and some of the astrology, knowing the definitions of some of these forces will just help you. So again, the way I organized this was just to really get away from any confusion that could be taking place. Okay, but yeah, this is just a continued week of balancing so many different polarities. But there are three major forces going on right now. And when I say forces, I mean these are internal drives, motivations, desires, external experiences. So that's what I mean by forces. And they are connected to certain placements, but I'm going to equate them to sign energy. So we have a Gemini force, a Virgo force, and a Pisces force. Very mutable energy going on this week. Also, still there's like a fixed energy too, but I would say anybody who's got strong mutable energy in your chart, you're probably going to feel this way more intensely than other people. But the Gemini force is all about play, inspiring relationships, and exploration and or discovery. Okay, so that's the Gemini force. So that's one force that we are engaging with and we are balancing. And then there's a Virgo force, which is more production oriented and desire to cultivate, and also prioritizing and investing in opportunistic relationships. And there's already some funkiness even just using that word, but that's the word that wanted to be used. And I know sometimes when we come across the word opportunist or opportunistic, it can kind of leave a little bit of a bad flavor in our mouths. It doesn't have to, right? To each their own and whatever is important to you. But opportunistic relationships, just to define that for you, are relationships where literally you're just capitalizing on opportunities to get something that you want. And maybe it's something that you guys can do together that maybe only you can do with another person, right? Versus being on your own. And that is the Venus Virgo component, but that is the Virgo force, okay? Production, cultivation. Cultivation can even just be like manifesting. That could even equate to like health and self-care, because Virgo is also part of that, or it can relate to creating. So it also depends on where it is in your chart and also how you relate to these energies for yourself and what's going on personally in your life right now in your free will. So also take that as it resonates. But just to reiterate, the Virgo force, production, cultivation, and opportunistic relationships. And then we have a Piscean force. This Piscean force we've been under for a long time, and we've had that for quite a bit too. The Pisces force is more about your emotional and spiritual needs and accountability to those needs. And I'm trying to only use like 3 words to define these forces to make it easy. But even within the 3 words, like keywords to define all these forces, I feel like there's a need to explain further just so that you guys can grasp how it relates to you. Because again, everyone's in a different spot and everybody relates to different words in different ways. But with the Pisces force, forgiveness can also be acceptance. It can be letting go and detaching emotionally. It could be healing, right? But forgiveness, holding on to oneself, which equates to the observer state, which I've talked about a lot. I keep meaning to do Island Turtle Talk episode. Maybe I'll get to it, maybe not. I'm not putting pressure on myself. But anyway, holding on to oneself, the observer state, taking time to really go within, taking time to really stay connected to yourself and stay connected to your soul and your emotions and your truth and all of that. Even being in a float state really equates to that, and having a healthy relationship with your own compass and with your own intuition and spirit and all of that. And also creative spiritual arts are also part of this Piscean force. For some of you, that's literally like healing modalities. Some of you, that's just having fun and frolicking whatever art you engage in, right? So that's the Pisces force. So just to reiterate again, because these are going to be important to understand as we continue this explanation, we're balancing Gemini, Virgo, Pisces. Gemini being the force of play, inspiring relationships, and exploration discovery. Virgo being the force of production, cultivation, and opportunistic relationships. And then Pisces being the force of forgiveness, creative spiritual arts, and then that discipline of holding on and connecting to oneself and spirit and compass. Okay, so those are the forces we're balancing. There are payoffs to balancing these forces. The payoff to the Gemini force is self discovery, being able to enjoy and exercise your own unique skills, and also communication and expression and the confidence behind that. That's the payoff of really engaging with the Gemini force. And it is important, I would say. No, I'm gonna back up. It's a benefit to engage in all of these forces, to invest in all of these forces. And also, it's going to be a balancing act for everybody. Of maybe you got to give a little bit more to Gemini. Maybe you got to give a little bit more to Pisces. It's really determining, it's really based upon where you're at personally and how you're navigating your life and what actually is even important to you at all, right? So just know that. But that is the payoff of the Gemini force. The payoff of the Virgo force is bringing what you want into your reality, which is great. Who doesn't love that? Popularity is actually an interesting payoff to engaging in the Virgo force, which I thought was interesting. And then a shift or change in your aesthetics and finances is also a huge payoff to the Virgo force. The payoff to the Pisces force is a long-term payoff because it's been present for months, like literally I think even just going beyond the beginning of the year, but we've been under that influence for a while. The long-term payoff of the Pisces force might not even come to fruition until much later. We probably have experienced some payoff already, but the payoff is really just personal development and a stronger compass and a stronger sense of faith and being able to be very adaptable and just kind of flow with things, not be so rigid or have expectations that could really hold us back. That's the payoff of the Pisces force. So now you know the forces and now you know the payoffs. Now, a couple other things before we get started into the actual astrology. The main driver of all of these forces and our actions this week is personal vision and beliefs. Personal vision and beliefs. Personal vision can be many things. Personal vision can be your personal goals. It can be maybe you want to stand up for a cause. Maybe it's something that you even just see as a version of you. Maybe you're realizing you have a certain vision of how you want to be as a person or how you want to live. Personal vision comes in many flavors, so as it resonates for you. Now, there are some other, I call it side effects. There is a supplementary experience going on in the midst of balancing these forces, and that's in relation to Mercury retrograde. Mercury is almost stationary direct. It goes stationary direct on the 28th. If you haven't seen my Mercury retrograde video, I encourage you, almost spilled my water. I encourage you to go and watch that video, especially if you've been struggling with this one, because this one's been pretty gnarly, I think, for most people, especially with all these other moon cycles and stuff we've had at play. But the effect of Mercury retrograde, we're still learning a lot from it. And this week in particular, it's more about allowing yourself to be open to new perspectives and ideas and ways of communicating, planning, executing your plans, and specifically in the realm of captivating others. I don't want to say captivate an audience, but for some it may be in the realm of that or even in the realm of leadership, but it's the ability to communicate with others and be heard in what it is that you're saying in terms of trying to get people to follow you or try to get people to pay attention to what it is you're wanting to do or what it is you're trying to bring to the table, right? So it does have that flavor of how well can you captivate people in what you're saying and have them actually understand what you're saying and get on board with you. That is what we're learning in the Mercury retrograde lessons this week. And it might be a bit of a bumpy road because, again, we're balancing three major forces that will have three different payoffs, all intertangled, that's not a word, all intertwined, which is why it's important to nurture all of these forces. But my best advice, because there will be moments where maybe you're really prioritizing Virgo and producing and cultivating and working in opportunistic relationships. Maybe you're really prioritizing Gemini. Maybe you just want to have fun and just kind of experiment and discover stuff within yourself. Or maybe you're doing the hermity solo Pisces thing, whatever it may be. But just know that as you're engaging in one of these forces very heavily, you may run into roadblocks or challenges, or just things might get kind of crunchy or funky. And if that happens, just take a step back and focus on another one. Like if you're riding the Virgo train and maybe you run into some sort of conflict with a person, or maybe you just hit a wall in terms of your progress, take the foot off the gas pedal and go play in Gemini for a while and just go and have some fun, or go learn something new, or go and take some time to yourself, right? And be in the Pisces realm of things and just go within yourself and just spend some time solo taking care of you, right? So it just depends on how how you're working with these energies and how they're manifesting in your life. But that is the overview of what to expect this week. Now, like I said, there's a lot of astrology. I don't know if I'm going to go into all the aspects because they're all very entangled this week, like very much so. Like I stared at my notes for like a good 30 minutes just trying to see like the patterns and organization of how the intermingling is happening. So again, that's why it took me a bit. But yeah, let's go ahead and almost got ahead of myself. Hold on. Hold on. Because everything is so intermingled, I also want to give you guys the signs and degree ranges to look out for of in your houses of how this is all manifesting for you before we get into the like specific little sections of astrology. So actually, timestamp. God, I hope I don't forget timestamps for this one because there's just a lot. Now, like I said, there's a Gemini force, a Virgo force, and a Pisces force. Gemini, 15 to 25 degrees. I know that's a really big range, but like I said, there's a lot going on. So wherever you have Gemini, 15 to 25 degrees falling in your houses, that's where you're probably going to experience a lot of just excitement and enthusiasm to go and explore, to go get to know people and just kind of dabble in a lot of different things. And through that, you will learn a lot about yourself and also a lot of what it is that you can uniquely bring to the table. There's a bit of a breaking out energy that's happening in Gemini that's also facilitating a lot of healing actually too. So if you've also been wanting to prioritize your own healing, I would really embrace the energy of Gemini and that Gemini force and whatever house that is for you. Now, depending on what house it's in, again, could look very different. Like if it's in a water house, I said this before because Jupiter's part of this, which has also been a long-term thing. But for example, if you have Gemini in a water house, that might actually look very Piscean. That might look very like, let me go within and discover in here versus externally discovering. But I will say any research you do right now, any attempts at like writing down your thoughts, even if it's just keeping a personal journal, or even just, allowing yourself to talk about certain things with other people or seeking counsel, very, very helpful for this period of time. But that's the Gemini force in whatever house that's coming in for you. Now with Virgo, same range, 15 to 25 degrees. That 22 degree point is probably the strongest for Virgo for this week. So again, take that into account. But again, that's the cultivation, the opportunistic relationships, production. Some of you, even if it does relate to other people in opportunistic relationships, it's more about what can give you a helping hand and support to get to where you want to be practically or in the physical realm, or get some like really tangible results from certain things that you're wanting. So just as an example, if you have Virgo in the 6th house, that could literally be all health oriented, all oriented with the body and how you're feeding yourself and taking care of yourself. That doesn't even have to relate to how you're producing, but for some people it can because it's also a work house. So again, that's just an example. And then Pisces, same range, 15 to 25 degrees. And again, we've already went over the force of Pisces. I don't want to beat you over the head with it. So Pisces, 15 to 25 degrees. Now I will say those are the 3 to pay attention to, in my opinion. Where were the Virgo degrees? So Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces, all 15 to 25. For Virgo, like I said, the 22 degree point is probably the strongest. Pisces is probably 17, is my opinion. Just my opinion, not fact. But those are the 3 I would pay most attention to this week. I will say Leo and Scorpio are worth taking a look at, but I wouldn't be concerned about it. But if you wanted to look, guys, this is Vedic or Western? Western. This is Western. But if you wanted to look at Scorpio and Leo, I would actually say 20 to 29 degrees. I would say that like last third of the degree ranges for both of them. Because with Leo, that's where we have Mercury in retrograde and all the Mercury retrograde lessons that I spoke on before in the earlier part of the overview. But we also have the Sun there, which is moving to Virgo this week. Vesta is also there still and is playing a role as well. Yes, so vision, mission, desires is falling in line in the Leo house, okay? Now with Scorpio, Pallas Athena is in Scorpio, and that's also playing a huge role this week. Pallas Athena is aspecting a lot. I want to say it's like Mercury, Venus, and Uranus. which is a lot because Venus and Mars are like super active, as is everything's active. Everything feels active. But anyway, coming back, so Scorpio 20 to 29 degrees is where that Pallas Athena Scorpio influence is going to be. And that's adding this motivation and drive for harmony and problem solving, but by way of using your own discernment. And that will also play off of the Leo Vesta, your personal vision, right? That's going to play off of that as well. It's just adding more motivation to like get out there with what it is that you're wanting to accomplish or wanting people to see and hear you, of wanting people to see and hear you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That being said, now let's get into the astrology. Cheese and fried rice, that is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like, when it comes to astrology, for those who are new, I don't believe in just the simple picture. I just don't. It's like looking at something that can be infinite and trying to say, oh, just focus on finances this week. Like, but that's not a full picture. You know what I mean? There's so much more that goes on. But this is why astrology is so fascinating. And this is also why people have such different opinions, because astrology, in a way, it does really represent the infinite fractals of truth and reality, right? So it really is up to your own choosing of how you experience it. But even outside of our own free will, we also will just experience it uniquely because we're all unique anyway. We all have unique charts and anyway, right? So this is why I like to give you guys an in-depth full picture. And then you can also discern for yourself how it's applying to you, right? I'm just a guide. I'm just here to give you the info, okay? All right, but let's get into the astrology. Now, this first section, actually, I might do timestamps for individual sections too, actually. Okay. So this first section, this is just really speaking to the Jupiter-Saturn influence that we've been under for quite a bit. So Jupiter is still square Saturn, while Jupiter is also square Orcus, and Saturn is also opposing Orcus. Jupiter is also trine Chariklo. Don't worry about trying to remember the aspects. I just reiterate them for people who are like really really advanced in their astrology practices. It doesn't really need to be said for those who are just kind of fly by night, just here for the info. But this is why I just reiterate the aspects for those who want them. But when it comes down to it, it's this fight between Gemini and Saturn because it has that square. This is the restriction a lot of astrologers have been talking about. It can have global implications because they both are what I would call annual planets. That's not an explicit astrology term. That's just how I look at Jupiter and Saturn. And they do tend to work together, but Saturn's creating a restriction with Gemini. So remember that Gemini force, play, inspiring relationships, discovery, the Saturn force, forgiveness, creative spiritual arts, and holding on to yourself, being connected to your compass, your truth, and all that good stuff. When there's a fight with planets like that, because it's a square, it's just about learning how to operate both at the same time, even if they want to fight with each other. And it does require adaptability, and it just kind of is what it is. There's going to be times where maybe you want to be out and about or learning something or just in the throes of new experience. And then there are times when you got to take a step back and just take care of you and make sure that you're not getting lost in it. Like, I've been speaking on this for a while, where Saturn in Pisces is kind of helping to be this parent force of don't lose yourself. And it does feel like that, especially because Gemini has that childlike energy. So it's almost like this more wizened adult parental guiding energy is like, oh shoot, hold on a second. Let me put that on do not disturb. My bad. Okay. That force is saying, hey, yeah, go have fun and go learn and be excited, but don't lose yourself. Do not lose yourself. This is such an important time too, to know who you are. And I've said this before. If you don't know who you are, if you don't have a strong compass, you could just get involved in anything or with anyone, and things can then happen that can be detrimental to you. You got to know who you are. And this is just part of putting that into practice. Now, the Orcus component, for those who don't know Orcus, it's kind of a mini Pluto. It has Neptunian, Plutonian energy dynamics to it, and usually equates to vengeance, honestly. Like, where Pluto is all about discovering truth and revealing secrets and personal evolution, right? Orcus is more like, let's reveal the bad shit and punish people for it. But Orcus isn't always so aggressive. Orcus is also about like new healing modalities and learning and all of that. But in Virgo, it really highlights the integrity part of Virgo. So just as you're navigating the balance of all that, it's just making sure that you are exercising integrity with all of this. The Jericho component is nice. So the more that you are engaging in the Gemini force, play, inspiring relationships, discovery, and exploration, Jericho starts to get activated. And in Aquarius, it's just beautiful because Jericho is also very Aquarian in nature, but it brings about these really beautiful experiences of really getting to know who you really are. So that self-discovery component, but also being able to express yourself confidently from that place, and also discover any like unique skills that you have that you can work from and utilize. So playing in Gemini is worth it. You just have to make sure that you are balancing with Pisces, okay? That you are not losing yourself entirely. Your compass is strong. You are flowing with forgiveness and your emotions and compassion and all of that, okay? Now, I will say before we move on to the next section, Mars and Venus, this is where the entanglement starts to happen. Mars and Venus are both aspecting Jupiter and Saturn more at the beginning of the week. And I know we're Tuesday, so this is like, we're still very present, but it's going to start pittering out by Thursday. But Mars being in Gemini, Venus being in Virgo, both aspecting Jupiter and Saturn in interesting ways. Mars is working with Jupiter in a conjunction, while Mars is still square Saturn. So Mars is adding to that Jupiter square Saturn energy that I was talking about. So again, it's adding this like ambitious, motivated, no, I'm gonna go play. No, I'm gonna go invest in inspiring relationships. No, I'm gonna go explore. While Saturn's like, okay, just don't lose yourself. So that's just there. But Venus and Virgo, again, production, cultivating, and opportunistic relationships. Again, I know that word sounds bad, but it's not innately bad. It's all about your intentions, right? That is opposing Saturn and is square Jupiter. So while there's this desire to produce and cultivate and invest in relationships that can help you meet your goals, there is this pull on Saturn still of like, hey, don't get lost. Don't get lost and stay open. Especially Virgo can sometimes be a little rigid. And Saturn can too, but Saturn being in Pisces is teaching you how to not be rigid, right? And how to stay open. Pisces is also like, yeah, you got your plans and expectations, but don't get so like stuck on that and so stuck on results that you forget your own spirit, or you forget emotions, or you forget about compassion or humanity even. And then the square to Jupiter is just kind of aggravating all of that, because Jupiter doesn't exactly have a physicality association to it like some of these other planets like Saturn or Mars or even Mercury, even Venus to an extent. It's much more of an expander or contractor kind of an influence. So I feel like it's just aggravating that energy. And also know that when Venus is opposing Saturn, sometimes it can bring about this feeling of loneliness too. And if you do start to feel lonely, it's also probably an indication that maybe it's worth paying attention to Pisces more, that Pisces force and how I defined it earlier. Okay, now let's move on to the next. Oh man, so this is Venus and Mars. Talk about the entanglement. Hold on. Okay. So before I get into like the ebbs and flows of the week in relation to Mars and Venus, just know that Mars and Venus are squaring each other the entire week and is actually going to be strongest on August 22nd. So that's going to be a day to look out for. When you have Venus square Mars, it creates definitely a lot of sexual energy. But if you are engaging with your sexual energy, which sexual can also be just creative energy as well, and just desire to literally bring things to life, right? That's what sexual energy is for. It can create a lot of frustration and conflict and aggression if it is used or in an unhealthy way. And especially in relationships, if you are dealing with an imbalanced relationship versus a healthy one, it can just create a lot of fighting and a lot of like trying to dominate the other person and that sort of deal. But if you're in a healthy relationship, it actually could lead to a lot of new exciting experiences, to exercise that creativity, which is great, right? So just know that that's very present this week. It doesn't have to be bad. We got the Clydester. It doesn't have to be bad. It just is what it is. Now, there's a lot of other aspects going on. I actually don't even want to rattle them off because I think it'll just kind of throw some people off. But just know that Chiron is aspecting Mars. and Uranus and Pallas Athena are aspecting Venus. So how does this look? Because we already know Mars and Venus are aspecting Saturn and Jupiter too part of the week. So in the beginning of the week, we have this Mars, Jupiter, and Gemini, the Gemini force, square Pisces. Hang in there with me. That Gemini force has support from Cheroklo in Aquarius and Chiron in Aries. So the way that that looks, engaging in the Gemini force, play, inspiring relationships, discovery, can create opportunities for deep soul healing, self-discovery, and again, also utilization of your unique talents and even discovering what those even are, on top of also overcoming any challenges with your own physical energy, like literally being tired or like being able to follow through things and being motivated and confident and courageous and standing up for yourself. Okay, beautiful payoffs with Gemini. While that is happening, there still is this call to pay attention to Pisces, to not lose yourself and forgive where forgiveness is best and let go of where it's going to suit you best. Okay, so that is still balancing there. At the same time, Venus is in that square with Jupiter and opposing Saturn in the way I described it before, where yes, do your thing, get your results, but just know there are other important things in life, not just results, right? So that's the beginning of the week. And then on top of it, we have this fight happening with Venus and Mars, and it's this like Virgo butting heads with Gemini. All it means is just balance Virgo and Gemini, balance play, balance inspiring relationships while you are trying to get your shit done or trying to progress in whatever way you're trying to progress and grow, all at the same time honoring Pisces. That's all it means. That's all it means. This is also going to allude to the payoffs of engaging in the Venus Virgo energy. So engaging in that Virgo force, production, cultivation. I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but it's like I want to be very clear about this because there's a lot that I'm saying. So prioritizing production, cultivation, and opportunistic relationships can help you bring things to life. But if you prioritize play and relationships that inspire you and bring new life to you, you also are going to have a major rise in your own confidence of just who you innately are as a person. So again, balance, 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 balance. Okay. Actually, I think that's all that needs to be said about that section. Yeah. Okay. Oh, good. Actually, it came out way more specific, way more not specific, simple than it felt when I was trying to piece this all together. Now, let's talk about Mercury. Okay. Artist cleverness and creativity with playful fun. Yes, exactly. And it's like, I know it can be easy to get lost in like just one of these things, you know, again, also person dependent, but there is such a benefit to balancing it all. And that's what life is anyway. Life is a balancing act, right? Oh, excuse me. Life's not all about work. Life's not all about play. Life's not all about responsibility, right? Life is literally a multifaceted experience. So this week is just really, you know, highlighting that too. But let's talk about Mercury. So for this entire week, Mercury is still retrograding in Leo, but is trine Chiron, who's also working with Eris. I've talked about Eris before. Eris is just kind of adding a little bit more of a spiciness to Chiron in terms of like standing up for what's right and being a little bit more outspoken, especially with the Chiron highlighting like where you've struggled with that, right? But Mercury is trine Chiron with Eris, and Mercury is also square Pallas Athena. Now, from the beginning of the week to the end of the week, Mercury is working with Uranus and Vesta, and then by the end is starting to work with Mars. And we're going to talk about Mars again. Again, everything is so entangled this week. But all this is coming down to is if you allow yourself to be open to what we can learn through Mercury retrograde this week with these aspects, new perspective, new ways, new tools, new ideas, and how to captivate other people, which is really what it is. How to be seen, how to be heard. You may actually already be starting to experience that yourself, of people actually looking at you differently and starting to maybe really listen to you, or maybe suddenly really not. And you're like, wait, what the hell's going on? Right? So just different ways that that could be manifesting. And if you hit a roadblock with this, right? If you hit a roadblock with this, just take a step back, like I said before, because something that is worth noting is the way Mercury is working with Pallas Athena. Remember, Pallas Athena is also working with Venus, and that's actually part of the payoff with Venus, because Pallas Athena is bringing in that desire for harmony, desire to bring things to balance. And especially with the Vesta energy too, it's also in terms of your personal vision. So it creates this situation where you want to really be heard and seen in what your personal vision is. You want to get your personal vision to come to fruition, whether it's something minor like being healthier as a person, or something major like I have a cause and I need people to come and follow me and help me with this cause, right? However it's manifesting for you. As you progress in that and as you engage in that, you might start to see how maybe you need to evolve in terms of how you're going about that and how you're communicating that, or what your plans are, what your logistics are, or how much you're even allowing to be heard by other people, right? And like vice versa, because it's not just a one-way street thing. You might care about how you're being heard and seen, but so do other people. You need to hear and see them too. So however, whatever way the personal challenges are coming up, just know that it's part of learning these things and learning how to evolve in this way. And engaging in the other forces will also add support. Engaging in Gemini and engaging in Pisces, okay? And we may also throughout the week go from a little bit more of a frustrated state to actually finding some ease with Mercury, which is going to be great. So just know that. And then last but not least, actually we're going way faster than I expected to, which is kind of nice. Last but not least, I'm going to talk a little bit about Uranus, but there are some other things just to be aware of for those who really care a lot about astrology. The sun is moving into Virgo this week and so is Vesta. So the sun and Vesta are actually moving together. So they're still in a conjunction. While the sun is also square Uranus at the beginning of the week. And for those who care about Sedna, the sun is also square Sedna throughout the week. Again, the Vesta component, which is also creating other aspects that I already mentioned with Mercury in particular, is just highlighting your personal vision and what your calling is and what feels sacred to you, what matters to you, what gets you up and going in the morning for those who are not familiar with Vesta. So that is really bringing in like the main driver of all of these other forces of Gemini and Virgo and Pisces, okay? Now we still have some long-term aspects that I'm not going to get into, but just know that Uranus and Neptune and Pluto are also aspecting each other, which is much more of a long-term global collective sort of experience, and we've been in it, so I'm not going to go on and on about it. But something that I do want to mention with Uranus and Taurus at 27 degrees is opposing Pallas Athena and Scorpio, Pallas Athena coming up again, and is square Vesta as well this week. All that's doing is creating a little bit more friction in terms of all of the forces of Gemini and Virgo and Pisces and balancing all of them. That's all. Uranus is also probably bringing some unprecedented change, as is the full moon. Some of this change is self-induced. Some of it is just kind of happening to us. But whatever change is happening and whatever crunchiness takes place, it's just a balancing act. Just flow with it. And remember, you hit a roadblock with one of these forces, whether it's Pisces, Gemini, or Virgo, engage in the other ones because it will probably bring you balance. And also it's just the same concept as if you're like looking at something in the face too hard and you can't really see clearly or you're struggling with it, when you shelve it and you shift your focus, a lot of times you can take it back off the shelf and everything will be fine, right? It's just like a simple concept to go at with, but that is what is going on this week. Is it a lot? Yes, but all it is balancing fun and play and exploring with getting shit done and progressing on your goals and taking care of your emotions and your spiritual matters while holding your compass and your truth and allowing for everything else to take place. That's all it is. That's all that's going on this week. Okay? I know it's easy to get overwhelmed with info, but some people really like the info. And honestly, I like giving the info. I do. So that's also why I do it. But we are going to get into some channel messages and cards here as well. I'm just going to take a little minute to get a little sippy sip on, shift gears internally, because a lot of when I talk about astrology is a lot of this, and I need to like, they just come down a little bit. And also don't forget to like the video if you are really enjoying this. I've also been feeling a little aggro. That's to be expected with some of this energy. I mean, honestly, with everything going on, I'd be shocked if people weren't feeling anything. If you weren't feeling anything this week, I would ask, do you have a pulse? What reality are you in? But that's just me. That's just me. Whew. Let me get some of my cards out here while shifting gears. Ooh, maybe that one. Maybe this one. Intriguing. So just hang out. I'm just going to take a minute to kind of recenter and feel out navigating the next steps of today of this live and how we're going to go about it. Because, like, there have been a lot of times the last few weeks where we've done groups and groups has come up. And there's been a couple instances where we kind of just come back to just doing a collective reading. So I'm just going to feel it out for a hot minute. So, potty break, get your drink on, get your snack on. I'm just going to take a minute here. Okay. All right. So let's see. 41, 15. So there is some collective channelings that they already provided to me, and I think we're gonna roll with that for a bit. I don't know what a bit it is. And then we are gonna do groups. They were starting to give me groups. So hold on a second. Let me just write down a bit of what was coming through. Group 1's gonna be fun. I can already feel it. So some of the collective channeling, connection. We already know the importance of connection, but they're just highlighting how important it really is this week, and even what we may learn about connection. A big theme with the full moon Aquarius, which if you guys are curious and still want a deep dive on that, that is available on Patreon and Vimeo. And also, just a heads up, it was a long session because we got to talking, as we always do over on Patreon. So it ended up being like a 3-hour video. It just happened. It just was what it was. Anyway, this woman Aquarius has really been highlighting friendship this week, but specifically my team was saying it really is about connection. And they were also showing it to me as a tree, right? And we know, like, trees communicate with each other through their root system. We're all connected. Energy is literally, everything literally is energy, right? It's like there's no way I am not connected to all things, just like you guys are all connected to all things. It's just the nature of the structure of all things that are, really. But the awareness of that and the implications of that are individual, right? As far as how that is coming up for you and how you are experiencing that or allowing yourself to experience that, or any challenges you have in relation to that. Just wanted to say in relationship to that. Is there anything else that wants to be said there? Also, a big highlighting of the heart space too. Oh, you guys can see I've got my little heart pendant today. But also highlighting the heart space and how much connection and vastness can be experienced through the heart space. Again, these are things we know, but not everybody has experienced that. So I feel like this just needs to be spoken for those who are maybe going through that experience or maybe wanting to go through that experience. Dropping into the heart and being able to sit there can be hard work. And again, depends on who you are, where you're at, and what you're dealing with. Because there's so much resistance that we can have in the heart space just from living life and ego and trauma and all of that stuff. It's a very vulnerable place to sit. But if you can really learn to get into your heart, it also means feeling everything that's still sitting in there, right? So sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it takes waves of getting in there and then, oh, too much. Or sometimes you're in there and then something happens and then you kind of bounce out of your heart space, right? But just the vastness of feeling all connection and the concept of connection is what's being highlighted right now too. Especially in terms of priorities. Remember what I was saying about Virgo, right? Where production and cultivation, right, is important. Where are we at? I'm collective messages, and then we're going to get into groups. This is just all channelings happening right now. But coming back, so remember what I was saying about Virgo, right? It's like cultivation and production and opportunistic relationships. Like, yes, that really helps us with our practical life, which we need to pay attention to. It's just part of being here, but it's not the most important thing. It's not all that matters. And really what is the most important thing is connection. I actually said this to a friend recently, and I think I first said it months ago, and like after I said it, there was some attention brought to it, and I think that attention made it stick in my head. Um, Everything is an illusion without connection. Everything. It really is all that matters. It's what anchors us into our reality. It's what anchors us into ourselves. It's what anchors us into other people. And through connection, specifically with people, is how we can also experience love to love, heart to heart. You can be solo and you can experience yourself, and that is a beautiful experience in and of itself too. But being human, being a human being on this planet, engaging in connection is a way to experience it not only with yourself. And it is rewarding and it is uplifting and it really is all that matters. This is also just something that comes with Aquarius and what we're learning as a collective and how we're evolving and ascending as a collective too. But yeah, that's just wanted to come through as just a collective little message there. Anything else? For those who can experience this vastness in the heart space, they're showing me like fighting dogs. Like, I don't like that visual. um, uh, those who can experience this vastness, there is a natural repulsion that happens with people who are not experiencing that or who haven't experienced it yet, is also how I want to say that. It's not a bad thing. It's not a judgmental thing. It just kind of is what it is. Because it's almost like it's trying to connect to something and or someone that is not open to connection, true connection, not open to true connection. Some of you may also have been realizing what real relationships and friendship like actually is about versus what other experiences you've had that have just not been authentic or real, right? Because if that vastness and connection isn't there, what is it really? All it is just projecting illusions back and forth. That's all it is. And they said and beliefs, projecting illusions and beliefs back and forth, back and forth, back and forth is all it is. Are we just like talking today? We're just channeling today. My team's like, no, we're get to it. I'm like, okay. But the fighting dogs, I don't even know if I want to speak on that. Because like I feel like all that is just like the illusions and projections and all that crap that just gets experienced as connection when it's not real connection, right? Because what is that? That's like trauma and ego, and it's not heart. It's not the heart, right? It's not the heart. Yeah. Can we move on? Like I don't even want to stay in this in these channel messages right now. I'm just checking in with my team. Is it? Yeah. Like, oh yeah, you can move on. I'm like, okay, cool. All right, so let's start getting into groups here. Group 1, they were showing me a ruby, which was kind of cool. Hold on, just getting the timestamp here. Okay. So group 1, they said don't worry about the cards yet. Okay. Ruby. Rubies are coming forward. Something like that feels very juicy. Yeah, very juicy, very sensual, very strong. Like it definitely reminds me of the root chakra. It almost feels like a really strong like trunk of a tree is what I'm feeling with group 1. Group 1, I feel like you're also moving because normally with like Ruby, I also think of like fire, of like fast movement, but I don't think you're moving very fast. I think you're moving very intentional in your life right now, wherever you're at. I also feel like you probably have been dabbling a lot with your Pisces force, and that's keeping you strong. It's keeping you very centered, but there is a really yummy churning that is happening, and I think you're just flowing with it. You're not like, yeah, oh, okay, so that makes sense. You're just really tempering your fire. You're working with your fire, but from a very, very grounded, solid place. You've probably also already tempered it with your water. I feel like there's very strong emotional maturity happening with group 1, and you're just kind of navigating. I feel like you're very contained in your energy too, even if you're engaging with other people. What is this? Teflon? Like, what is that? Like bouncing off, bouncing off, bouncing off. There is a lot that's bouncing off of you. Like they're literally showing me like Teflon, like bounce. Because you're so solid or you're finding such, okay, thank you, they're correcting me. Some of you are finding what it is to be this solid, like what that experience is really like. and this more solid that you're getting in this like trunk of your tree, so to speak, there's just so much bouncing off of you. There's just so much like not even able to bother you, penetrate, and this definitely includes other people, and even the words of other people. I feel like there's a lot of confusion going on outside of you. Some of you have moved from a confusing state to much more grounded state, and maybe this is going to happen by the end of the week, because again, everyone's in a different spot in group one as far as your transition here. But yeah, I'm getting like people outside of you are confused by you. They can't read you. Teflon, right? It's like they can't penetrate. They can't read you right now, and they don't really need to. They don't really need to. But that's what I'm getting for group one. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull some cards for you guys here. Yeah, let's start with Priestess of Light. Yeah, let's start with that. Yeah, I'm like, sorry. Just like some of the ways the messages come through. I'm hearing, no, thank you. Even the way you're speaking is also like something about your words is also like Teflon. Like people might try to be like engaging you, and your responses are either non-existent or very simple. Yeah, I just feel like it's confusing people. But again, it's not about other people, it's about you right now. Even like the fact that it's Ruby that was coming through for you. You don't need to work with Ruby to be experiencing this, but something about Ruby also feels very regal, right? Certain, crystals and gems just have that regality to them. And Ruby's one of them, Sapphire's one of them, Emerald is one of them, like high quality versions of these stones, right? Yeah, no, thank you. You are so satisfied within yourself. It's just, it feels really good. It just feels very solid. But again, I can feel it. You're like, you're tending to your fire element here. Okay. Any messages or insights for group one, please? Oh, sorry. I'm starting with the Priestess of Light Oracle. I'm just like really in it right now. Any messages or insights for group one, please? Ooh. Oh, you got some big daddy guides, guardians here. I want to say guardians, like like cosmic bodyguards almost. Different realms, because I'm channeling for so many people. I'm getting animals really strongly though, like super strong. But obviously some of you this is ancestral, some of you this is star family, some of you this is like the Fae or elemental realm. Because there's so much going on with being super solid and like root chakra and grounded and centered, I do think a lot of you are working more in like nature realm, like elementals, animals, guardians, things like that. But yeah, I feel like almost like a cosmic bodyguard kind of a vibe. But again, they're just guides. So however that's coming through for you, but specifically playing the role of guardian, protector. Oh my God, no wonder why. We have portal coming out here for group one, infinite mind, awakening consciousness with the vibration of one. This is because you're moving into a whole new realm of like solidity. Is that even a word? Solidity? That doesn't feel right. Solidification. Thank you. Solidification of self. And when we go deep within like that, when we get our roots really strong, we also can access so much more as far as like realms go and portals go and what have you. And that's what's happening here. Your roots are growing vaster and deeper, and so your branches are getting higher and more expansive. So some of you guys, thank you. Some of you in working with your fire element, which is vitality, creation, passion, all of that, I do feel like you are opening interesting realities and like timelines and opportunities for yourself, but you're doing it very intentional, and it all feels very contained. Even though this card literally says portal, they're contained portals. It's so cool. That's a very cool vibe here. Anything else that wants to be mentioned for group one? I'm hearing stitch in time. Yeah, you're creating a new reality for yourself, and it feels cool. It feels good, And again, you're like Teflon. I think this is also part of it too. This like Teflon reaction that's happening. It's because like you're literally transitioning into a different reality. So certain people that are not going with you, they can't access you because you're like containing yourself in this new reality you're creating for yourself. It's very cool. This is very, very cool, group one. They said move on. Okay. Moving on, we're going to go with the Fae because it feels right. All the decks that I use are linked below, and they are updated. So all the decks I'm using today should definitely be down there if you are curious. But this is the Fairies Oracle that I'm about to use here. Any messages or insights for group one? I can feel group two trying to come in here. Oh, Luwathus the Wild. He is literally a fiery energy. I know he's all green and everything, but he's literally about action and like this innate wild, fiery kind of a spirit. He's literally called Luwathus the Wild, right? 57 breaks down to a 3, which 3 to me I also associate with the fire element as like a catalytic energy. Again, you're not overwhelmed. You're not overwhelmed. You're just working with fire. You're creating, opening portals, getting ready to leap and jump through. And you're just solid in it. Because I feel like if you weren't so solid, you could get carried away with it, almost like too excited or like too aroused almost. And aroused isn't always sexual. Aroused is like aroused, right? Or like too aroused. Like being grounded in this is super important for you. So I love that that's there. Because I can feel a daring energy, but I don't think you're feeling it with how centered and grounded you are or are becoming. Yeah. Can I get another one, please, for group one? Keep trying to push group two off. Because the energies are so intermingled this week, interweaved, intertwined, so to speak, I think there's gonna be a lot of overlap with these groups, more so than usual. So just know that too. I get asked a lot, like, what group should I watch? Just use your intuition. Use your compass. Discern for you, for yourself. When I put on like the titles for the groups, I do try to put in like little keywords to help. So just follow that. Anything else for group one, please? Really? Oh. Yeah, again, fire. So much fire. We have the RAR. It's literally a ball of fiery energy. That's literally what it is. Oh, the 5s are out here, man. 52, which breaks down to a 7. But the RAR card is, like I said, it's literally just like this, not untamable, because I feel like you're taming yourself, which is helping you to navigate it. But that's like the level of fire and like momentum that you're working with, but you're not letting it get out of control. It's almost like you got this like wild, untamable ball in your hands, and you're like, as you're on a balancing ball, and you're just super focused, and you're just like super in it. Yeah, I feel like I'm speaking to like a master of fire here. I do feel like you are really ready to take off though. Something feels ready to like catapult, but that to me almost feels like it's coinciding with being fully cemented in whatever this newness is that you're creating for yourself. It does feel like it's taking time though. I can feel that. Like it's taking time, and finally there's going to be a moment of, right, of fully in it, fully here, fully bringing it in, fully experiencing it. But like the buildup is really slow. Almost like you, oh, thank you. So group one, interesting. Some of you guys might have been going through some hard moments in the last few months, maybe even for this year. Maybe this year's been really hard for you. I think this is why it's been slow. I almost feel like you had to like learn to ignite your fire. Like your fire pit was out and you had to like learn how to make a fire again and learn how to like flame it up again, and you've done that, and now you're like harnessing it, and you're like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think you've probably had some hard times there where your fire was just non-existent, but this seems to be the week where you've built it up into something pretty awesome, and now you can really do something with it. But after the RAR card, it sounds weird to say it like that, but that's how it's spelled, like RARR. We have the Fawn and Maiden. The Maiden's been coming out a lot. I love the Maiden card. Again, the fives, like 5 in the 57, 5 in the 52, 5 in the 35, 14 breaking down to a 5. Fives are huge for you guys. But anyway, the Fawn with Maiden is really sweet here because the Fawn is working with the earthly plane, like earth magic, nature magic, which is exactly what I was getting with you. Like your energy feels very elemental. Even like the guides you're working with or like energies you're working with, very elemental. I just keep getting like earth and fire with you specifically. But I do think that's why the Fawn is here. And there is new life coming forward out of working with this fire because the Maiden also represents new beginnings. Maiden can be like a baby energy or newness or purity. And even with the Fawn being there, there is like a really beautiful gentility, which I think is also coinciding with how graceful you're kind of being in this like cultivating fire, creating something with it in a very paced, intentional, contained way. It's very cool. And I keep getting like parent child here, but I think that's really just representing this newness that you're bringing in for yourself. But it's with sweetness too. I think a lot of you have learned to be very compassionate and patient with yourself and patient with the process. They said patient with the process. You've learned to be patient with the process. You probably have struggled in the past of wanting results fast or feeling like you weren't doing enough. Almost want to say maybe even feeling like a failure or being self-degrading, but God, you've worked through a lot, group one. You have worked through a lot. Wow. I can feel it. I feel like so much has built up into this kind of place where you're finding yourself at. Like a lot of things had to happen. A lot of things had to get calibrated and worked out. It's kind of amazing. How long have we been doing this one? Wait, an hour? So I keep myself on track of time. Okay, we can. Okay, we're not gonna do the animals just because I want to stay on track of time here, but we're gonna get into some tarot and then we'll move into group 2. Yeah, especially with the needing to reignite your fire. I think there's been a lot that has been pulling on your energy, like wasted outlets of your energy and your focus. But again, this is why you've learned to contain. Very nice. All right. Any other messages or insights for group 1, please? Group 2 is trying to creep in so hard. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh. I don't think I need to pull any more cards. This says it all. Ah, so beautiful. Ace of Wands, Justice, 8 of Cups, and the Sun. There's your fire. You've brought it back to life. It's ablaze because Ace of Wands is like, right? And then Justice is balanced. You're balanced with it. You're tempered with it. You know how to cultivate it. You know how to work with it now in a place where you're very contained within yourself. And then 8 of Cups with the Sun. You are moving into something new. You absolutely are. And you're leaving some things behind. And again, I keep feeling like that has been a slow transition because you've needed to get your fire back up. And at the same time, you've needed to like contain and cut off certain outlets and focus, certain outlets for your energy and your focus. Can even be relationships, right? And you are allowing yourself to move into something new, a new experience, a new life, a new environment, whatever that may be for you. This also is part of Saturn Pisces energy. The Piscean force is really represented by that 8 of Cups. You also are dropping a lot emotionally too. Some of you, that has been the outlet that has like almost put out your fire, is just emotional stuff you've held on to that needs to leave. So beautiful reading, group 1. I mean, the sun is like happy times, happy joy times, right? For Ren and Stimpy fans. So beautiful. Let's move on to group 2 since they're like been knocking on the door for a while. Okay, group 2. Hold on, let me put fire. Just making notes for group 1. Okay, group 2, why are you so impatient? Because the Swan was coming up for you. Hold on. Yeah. Group 2, Swan. I just keep getting big, giant Swan, but I feel like you're impatient too. So let me Let me get in there. What is going on with you, group 2? I feel like, okay. No, that's true. Okay. I was asking myself a question and I'm like, is this a dumb question? Because I was like, do swans fly? Like, not all birds fly, right? They fly. No, they fly. They fly. I just don't think they can fly major distances. I could be totally wrong about that. I don't know a lot about swans as far as like ecology goes or what have you. Um, but they're showing me like swans, like multiple swans flying. And I'm like, do they do that? But maybe they do. Anyway, there's an impatience to fly is what I'm getting with you, group 2. Yes, please like the video. Please, please, please like the video. It really does help a lot. And it also helps to get the messages out to people who need them. So please like the video. And of course, sharing also helps to get that message out to people. But yeah, I feel like you're a swan that is impatient to fly, maybe even to fly with your flock. Yeah, it's like, I don't want to be on the ground anymore. I don't want to be in the water anymore. I don't want to, like, almost like maybe you feel like you've been stuck or sitting somewhere for too long. And you want to fly. You want to fly, you want to fly away, you want to fly into the sun. Interesting. Okay. That to me just says new beginnings. So that makes sense as to why you're creeping into group 1. While group 1 was much more like earth and fire, you're more like air and fire, is what I'm gathering. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into that. I want to fly. I want to be a real boy. I don't know. I wanted to say that. I don't know. I'm in a fucking place today. You want to fly. Let's use the High Priestess Oracle again for you. They migrate, actually. They do. Okay. Okay. Like, because I know geese do. But yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, group 2, it has this feeling like you kind of want to run away, is honestly what I'm kind of gathering for you. Which isn't bad. You could just be craving different. You may be very, very tired and bored of what you got going on. Yeah, I want to fly. I want to fly away. I want to fly into the sun. I'm like, okay. Are you going to be able to fly? We have balance with stability and standing firm. I'm going to get a second one for you. 40, break it down to a 4. But this literally to me says the opposite of that. Where it says more like hold your position of what you're doing and where you're at. Can I get another one, please, for group 2? Yeah, I think you're just bored and maybe you feel like you're in a rut right now. Like, I can feel it. Like, you don't want to do this. you don't want to maintain. Like, you want to change. You don't want to maintain, you want to change. That's what I'm getting with you. Can I get another one, please, for group 2? Oh, okay. Thank you. I see. We have Shamanic Journey. I love the visual of this card. The art on this card in particular, always just love it. Purpose, attunement, and vision quest. 23 breaking down to a 5. So you literally have progressive energy from 4 to 5. So, okay, I can see what's going on here, group 2. This is also part of balancing the forces, and this is totally a way that this can be frustrating because I feel like this is the epitome of like Gemini Pisces going on here. Like, you're being asked to be disciplined and maintain and keep going, and you gotta like hold your position, and you're just like, I want to be free. I want new. I don't want to do this anymore. This is too mundane for me. This is like totally about the balance of Gemini, Pisces, and Virgo going on here. So I feel like the encouragement is actually to take some time to indulge in Pisces, actually. Okay, so yeah, thank you. That's a better way of describing it. So this is the fight between Virgo and Gemini. Virgo's like, maintain the course, progress, results. And Gemini's like, let's do something totally different. Adventure instead, please. Pisces is going to help you a lot here. There's something that you would really benefit from acknowledging or seeing about yourself right now, okay? This feeling of I want to run away, this feeling of I need something new, I'm bored, there's something else going on behind there that, again, you would just benefit from. Because the shamanic journey card is pretty clear. Take a little spiritual journey. Go within. Go within and explore what's going on in there. Because I feel like something about what you're being asked to maintain currently, yes, you're bored of it, or you're sick of it, or you just feel trapped or imprisoned by it. And I think you can have new later on. I mean, that is something that just comes, that ebbs and flows anyway, right? Change is the only thing we can really depend on. But something specific about, how do I want to say, what actually drives your spirit. Thank you. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. True driver and motivation of your unique spirit. That's something you're being asked to dive into and look at and connect to. Because I feel like there's something there that you're missing, or there's something there that wants to be transmuted or like overcome, healing essentially. But it's more about recognition. It's more about recognition than anything as to why it's important to maintain something right now that you want to destroy and break away from. I can feel it. You're very tempted to destroy this. Like, whatever you're trying to make, like you're being asked to maintain and continue putting in energy and time into, that is making you feel trapped and imprisoned. You're like, I just want to break it. Are you an Aquarius or something, or Gemini? What's going on? Maybe you're a Taurus. I don't know. I'm just like, this is very like, I just want to destroy this because I feel trapped and I just want new and I want it now. I'm sick of this. Go within. I know. We don't like to hear that sometimes. There's a reason to maintain this. I'm doing groups, I'm not doing signs. There's a reason to maintain this. You might not see what it is yet, but if you go within, you may see the benefit of it. Okay? Okay. Are we doing Fae or animals for group 2? We're gonna do Fae. Okay, I was kind of ready for animals just because Swan was so big for you guys. I want to break it up, yeah. Any messages or insights for group 2, please? Any messages or insights for group 2? God, even the horse is really sticking out to me. Look how wild that horse looks, right? And I feel like that there is something going on with just like who you are at your core, and this like desire and craving for freedom and for just like total, just put things off to the side, destroy everything and start over. Just to have a sense of freedom and newness again. There's something about that that is like part of your spirit, or something driving that on a very deep spiritual level to be looked at. Or to channel, thank you. To have a different channel to channel it in a different way. So there is a wild part of your spirit. It just needs an outlet. That's all it is. It just needs an outlet. You don't have to destroy your foundation. You don't have to destroy the things that have been making you feel bored about life. Well, all you need is just a channel, an outlet, to be a little wild and to have a little fun and to be a little crazy and to try something new. That can literally be a new skill or a new hobby, right? That could be going somewhere you've never been before, right? Like, you don't have to destroy something in your life that actually needs to stick around to have that, to enjoy that. That's totally what this is. Any messages or insights for group 2? Oh, yeah. I love this one too. Singer of Intuition. Look at all that purple. I love purple. It's actually one of my favorite colors. Singer of Intuition is exactly what I'm already getting with you anyway. Go within. Explore your soul. Explore what's really going on down there. Explore your real motivations. You're only going to do that by embracing Pisces, by embracing the soul and spiritual matters. Singer of Intuition alludes to that. Yeah, I keep getting this over and over. There's a reason for this. There's a reason for this. I think some of you have had some doubts of like, am I wasting my time with this? Maybe that's also part of it too. Like maybe some of you haven't been seeing the results you've been wanting from trying to maintain or invest or progress in whatever this is. But there's a reason. There's a reason. And you'll see it if you engage in that more in your spirit and dive into your spirit here. You may even get some downloads as to why this is important. Anything else for group 2? Oh, you got Fawn too. Fawn came out for group 1 for anybody who used the timestamp here. So again, Fawn is the element of earth magic. It's very grounded, it's very soft, but it's also very strong too. It's like a strength and vulnerability that comes with the Fawn. I keep feeling like this is about a Pisces. Not a Pisces, but interesting I said it that way. This is about engaging in Pisces. Look at even like the same illustration of, right, all this energy coming down into your body. It's like, you got to gauge in spirit here. Your spirit. Take time away. Take time in silence. Take time to, whatever your practices are that help you go within. Maybe you journal. Maybe you meditate. Maybe you like ceremony. Maybe you just like being out in nature. Maybe you need to ground a little bit more too, even. And maybe that'll actually push you into group 1 energy, right? There's a reason to maintain certain things in your life. And I think you just need to honor the call of your wild spirit, but in a way that's constructive and in a way that can give you a nice outlet where you don't have to destroy your life or destroy certain aspects of your life. I feel like nature is going to help you a lot here. Can I get one more? Actually, you know what? I think you should go on top of a mountain. That's what I think. I think finding a nice mountaintop to go hike up to would be really helpful, because one, to be grounding and also just feel good, but to be on top of a mountain and overlook helps to get you in the element of air. It helps to get you in a place where you can gain perspective of all things, but definitely spiritual matters. That is totally my recommendation for you. Can I get one more, please, for group 2? Can I get one more for group 2? Oh. The Friends card came out and it landed on the Singer of Intuition. Are you not engaging with people or certain people? I'm getting this weird vibe, group 2, when it comes to your relationships. And I'm going to say all kinds of relationships. That can be romantic, that can be friends, family, coworkers, acquaintances, whatever, mentors. Actually, mentorship is coming in really big here. Some of you could really benefit from speaking to somebody who can guide you through this, like counseling or therapy even, or a teacher, right? Oh, thank you. Yeah, some of you really just need to pick up a new skill or something, like to go take a class or go dancing. And like, I want to say where you're engaged with other people. Some of you may actually be too isolated. So there's a lot of ways this is coming through. Some of you are too isolated. Some of you need to like literally just pick up something new you've never done before and something you can engage in week to week, every other day, whatever that may be. But others of you, there's a specific person, a specific relationship that you're avoiding. That you're avoiding. And for some of you, you're like physically avoiding them, and maybe it's time to talk, maybe it's time to reconnect and explore why you're avoiding them or the roots of what has gone on there. Others of you, there's actually like old emotional stuff and like programming that is asking you to like acknowledge what you're still holding on to from a specific relationship that you don't like to think about. Definitely one that you're not engaged in. So there's a lot coming through for group 2 in terms of this card. But remember the overall collective channeling, right? Connection is everything. And the Friends card also alludes to that. Actually, so does the Singer card. The Singer is really cool because singers, there's quite a few singers in this deck, and they're frequencies. They're actually like frequencies and vibrations and like sounds, right, of certain energies. But anyway, that's what I'm getting. Some of you too isolated, need to engage with people more, and that's going to help you here to like gain insight into yourself. Some of you need to play and frolic in a new hobby, a new skill, taking a class, something you can do like again every week or every other couple days. Some of you are avoiding someone very like tangibly physically and like need to like connect to them again, so you can get to the roots as to some programming that's been happening there that's been making you feel so trapped and imprisoned. And others of you, there's a relationship that there's still a lot of emotional shit you're holding on to, and you just haven't worked through it. So I know it's a lot, but I'm reading for a lot of people. So yeah. All right, let's get into some tarot cards. I'm getting a Nine of Swords energy. Yeah, I'm trying to make sense of it. That's what I just heard. I'm trying to make sense of it. Like trying to make sense of what's best for you to do. I really want to say, I think this group is too engaged in the Virgo force. Just on an intuitive level here. You're being asked to also be brave in facing yourself here. Especially for those where you need to actually physically deal with someone you've been avoiding, or the emotions from the fallout, Jesus, Mercury retrograde, the fallout of a certain relationship. And be brave in addressing that and facing that, feeling that. Any other messages or insights for group 2? Wheel of Fortune. This is good that this is here. Sometimes this card can indicate divine timing or luck or fate, but it does indicate a change is at foot. Is at play at foot. Changes at foot. Oh my God. Changes at play. Mercury retrograde. Change is happening. Change is happening here. It's available to you. It's available to you. You just got to see how to work with it. Because I keep feeling like I want to run and I want to break and I want to destroy. Very self-sabotagey. When really the answer is you can have change, but you got to navigate it. You got to flow with it. It can't be like a black, white, all or nothing kind of a thing here. And it is happening. It is available to you. That's the other thing too. I don't think you realize a foot would be right too. It would? Oh, okay. It didn't sound right for some reason. Some of you are not realizing that it is available to you in more subtle ways, because I think there's like a mental trap going on here of I'm stuck, I'm bored, I just want completely new. I see a start over, right? Let's see. Wait, where'd you go? Oh, there you went. Okay. Yep, there it is. 8 of Swords. Yeah. The mental trap. The mental trap. When the 8 of Swords comes out, we are in a prison of our own making, and there are illusions, and we are not seeing what? That it is available. It's right there. It's right there. And it doesn't gotta be all or nothing either. Any other messages or insights for group 2? I can feel it. Group 2, there's a lot of lessons in relationships happening here for you too. And what it is, especially with like friendship, like what it is to have healthy, supportive give and take of relationships, and trust is part of that too. Any other messages or insights for group 2? Yeah. 4 of Pentacles. I'm going to say what you don't want to hear. You're doing this to yourself. I'm sorry. You're doing this to yourself. 4 of Pentacles and 8 of Swords are definitely indicative of that. That's being a little too defensive and closed off and being way too trapped in your head and your own illusions and your own fears and your own insecurities. It's like you're afraid of being trapped, so you're actually trapping yourself as a consequence, unfortunately. And I do feel like there's a component of other people that you are not engaging with right now that is actually really key for you to seeing this and to seeing that, oh wait, it can be different. I don't have to fly off into the sun, into a whole new pond. I can explore other parts of the pond. I can maybe fly up into a tree and then come back down and hang out with another swan or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? There's a middle ground. It's not all or nothing. There's a middle ground. Any other messages or insights for group 2? I also want to mention with the Venus square Mars energy this week, compromise can help. You got to be careful with that though, because it depends on who you're dealing with. If you decide to compromise and try to meet someone at the table, right? Like the situation, like find a middle ground, it's very helpful. But if you do it just for the sake of getting along, or just for the sake of just wanting some difficult situation to be over, it could have bad consequences. Because it also has this like dominating aggressive energy behind it too. So if you allow someone to have their way with you and you call it compromise, that's not good either, right? So just want to mention that. Any other messages or insights for group 2? I can feel group 3 coming in. Any other messages or insights for group 2? I'm trying to calm down group 3. Interesting. So the Knight of Wands is coming out here. This is freedom. This is play. This is wild child energy, right? It actually is literally matching the card too. And again, you can have an outlet for this, but you need to seek out the outlet. You need to make the outlet happen. You don't got to destroy everything to be totally free and clean slate your life. You can have fun. You can be wild. You can be free. But just engage it in something constructive. Engage it in something constructive. I feel like this group in particular is really struggling with the Venus square Mars component. So for group 2, if you're resonating with this, I'd pay attention to where you have Gemini and Virgo in your charts and just kind of see what else may be going on there in like your personal natal placements, okay? But yeah, there's an outlet for the Knight of Wands energy, but it's up to you to figure that out. And also taking time in the Pisces realm is going to be very helpful for you. And allowing yourself to engage a little bit with people in ways that you have been struggling with or have been closed off to, also very helpful, okay? All right, let's move on to group 3. I think this is going to be the last group for today. I know there was a time we had 4 groups, but I think this might be the last group, but we'll see. You know how it is. We just kind of flow in the moment over here. Let me get a sippy sip, and then we'll get back into it. Because group 3... Just from what I'm feeling, I'm like, ooh, what is up? What is up? I don't know. I feel like I'm going to raise my eyebrows a lot with you, group 3, just saying. So... Hold on. I like the energy's distracting me from trying to write this stuff down. Okay. All right. So group 3. There's a pretty pissed off bear that I'm seeing. Okay. I'm literally seeing a bear like full like defensive stance mode and making noise and kind of throwing their weight around. It doesn't feel bad. Just feels like it is what it is. I do feel like this is actually you. I don't think this is someone outside of you. It feels like a display of power, but it's not I don't feel like it's distorted. It actually feels very necessary. You're doing it for a reason. It's intentional, okay? It's intentional. And I do feel like you're using your voice because I keep getting blue with you too. Like blue is coming through really strong. You're displaying your power. You're making a stance. Sometimes bear can represent parental energy too, just because bear is protector, like mama, papa bear kind of vibes. Bear is also stamina and strength, but bear is also love. Bear is also love. And bear is also an energy that we harness to recover when we really need it, when we need a little bit of shelter to go through some really hard stuff or really sensitive stuff. Again, like a parent would do for a child, right? So there's this pissed off bear energy that you're in. Maybe protecting something, maybe even just standing up for yourself, but I keep getting it feels very necessary. It's a necessary display of power and exercising your voice. Trying to see if anything else wants to come through here. Is there anything else? Ooh. I got a flash of a hyena. Some of you may be dealing with a person who could potentially be a little shady and trickstery. I'm not going to say maniacal, but that did flash through my mind, but I don't feel like that's really the case. It feels more like someone who will like laugh when they're actually really upset, like someone who's like doesn't exactly display honesty in how they express themselves. Yeah, I want to say it's a not honest person. And sometimes people are not honest, not from a bad place, but just from a coping mechanism, like people pleasing, right? People pleasing is also like a very dishonest energy. It's a very dishonest way of acting in relationships. So whether you're engaging with somebody who just, yeah, they just can't be authentic. I'm just going to say it that way. They can't be authentic, at least not with you, is what I'm getting at, group 3. And not all of you are experiencing that. I want to make that clear. I can feel it. It's only some of you. It's not this like big overall energy for your group. So there's that. That's going on. I feel like the stance that you're making, it is actually to protect. It is. It's to protect something that matters to you, even if it's just yourself. It also feels very territorial, group 3. I feel like you're being very territorial, but again, it feels called for. Yeah, it feels called for. Wait, did I write? Oh, I did. I was like, I thought I wrote down a timestamp. All right, let's get into it. I'm actually going to stick with the High Priestess of Light as well for you. Like some of you are really learning to say no, which is good. It's really cool when people do start to learn how to say no, because I feel like once people get started in learning to say no, they can't stop, and they're just like, no, 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 I'm not doing that. No, like it's a very empowered place to be. Some of you are definitely going through a throat activation is also what I want to say too, because sometimes when we go through activations of the throat, just like with the heart, there's an ebb and a flow to it. There's almost like a highs and lows of it, where when the heart opens up, sometimes you experience like insane levels of bliss and elation, but also like depression and anger and sadness. And the same goes through with the throat, but it's through words, right? It's through words. Some of you guys may be going through that. I actually think singing would be a really great outlet for you, group 3. No matter why you need to exercise your voice or have this display of power, so to speak, like I think singing would just be helpful and also fun. Who doesn't love to sing? Right? Any messages or insights for group 3? Any messages or insights for group 3? Ooh, all of these? You guys got a lot of cards. You got 3. Oh, I see. Friendship is your first card here. 14 breaking down to a 5. Support, fun, unity, and play. You ready for the next one? Loss and lack. Fear and victimization. 34 breaking down to a 7. And then we have the divine feminine. Just beautiful to come out here with a bear medicine, right? Magnetic receptive power, vibration of 7. I don't know if I said that, but you got actually, oh yeah, 2 7s here. 14 to a 5, but 34 to a 7, and you got another 7. So 7s and 4s seem to be significant for you, group 3. This is why the bear is so okay. You may also relate to, was it group 2 that had all like the guides and guardians come in, or was that group 1? It might be group 1. You might resonate with something in group 1. Again, they're time stamped, but this kind of says it all. That says it all. There seems to be group 3 a highlighting of certain experiences where friendships that were supposed to be friendships really just led to loss, led to suffering, led to being taken advantage of or taking something from you. This is where that territorial energy is coming in. Setting the boundaries, protecting the self, using your voice seems to be a huge part of this as well. Now, I do want to say too, some of you, there may be a need to recognize that while you are learning, how to have these boundaries with people so that you don't experience that again, be aware that you could also be projecting unfairly onto certain people, or even keeping yourself from certain relationship experiences because of that as well. So you got to be discerning here with yourself of, are you projecting, or are you in the right and justified to use your voice and your "I am a bear, do not trespass on me," kind of a stance, right? Because I can feel both. I can definitely feel both. They may not apply to everybody, but that's a discernment thing. And the divine feminine being here, I think, is also emphasizing that, because divine feminine energy is receptive, is open, right, to receive and to connect, which, if we are struggling with how to have certain proper boundaries, this is also something we're learning to engage with as well, with our own divine feminine energy. So definitely a lot of you may be working with the feminine. There may be a lot of you also working through like mother maternal sort of issues, and also parental issues, because this feeling of being trespassed on speaks to the fact that maybe you have been lacking experiences or skills, or lacked a certain experience with your own family and people who were supposed to like bring you up and guide you and give you tools to navigate relationships, that's been lacking in your life, right? So there probably is a need to kind of almost go back into the future, oh my God, back into the past. Maybe there's some future stuff to address too. Back into your past experiences, maybe even going back to family dynamics and ancestral stuff and inner child stuff and all that good stuff, in terms of what tools you've been lacking that led to this, that led to being trespassed on. Because sometimes people trespass on us and they don't realize it, because we didn't have the proper voice or tools or boundary setting to make it known that, hey, you're trespassing on me and I'm not okay with it, right? But that's what's going on here. That's what's going on. And also, again, working with the divine feminine energy. Whew. All right. Am I doing Fae? Yes, I am. Okay. Well, you're doing the Fae again. Yeah, I think this is going to be the last group today. Especially too, there's something else wants to be highlighted here. The divine feminine is also an energy that works within. I think this is also why I was wanting to reference group 1 for you guys, because group 1 is really mastering that. And again, you could be in this group now and maybe be in group 1 by the end of the week, right? Because there's a lot of overlap happening here. But being that solid within yourself is also containing the self, which creates a natural boundary. When you're that solid in yourself, remember, like group 1, it's like Teflon. Like, people can't trespass on you. They can't, right? So if you're in that place, if you're in the Teflon observer state and you're deep within yourself and that divine feminine energy, you can still be open and receptive. But anybody who is not really truly resonating with you, there's no motivation for them to stick around, because it's just not energetically matching up. But if you're engaging with people who are solid in themselves too, they can't trespass on you, because that's just not where they're at energetically, and you can't trespass on them either, right? And there is an authenticity happening there. Authenticity seems to be a big thing happening in your reading here too. Maybe you're also realizing where you have or haven't been authentic with other people in your boundary setting, just like people haven't been authentic with you, right? Again, that hyena energy kind of coming through. So that's what I feel like is going on. Get within yourself, get centered and deep within yourself. And from there, the right people will align to you, and the ones that will trespass or even have trespassed, they can't. And if you're just learning to do this now, there may be some shifting that happens to where maybe you do need to have some confrontations and some boundary setting that happens now with certain people. And if you got to get into bear mode to do it, in angry bear mode, then maybe you have to. And there's nothing wrong with that if it's necessary and not a projection, right? And maybe in that there also is going to be some recognition of, oh, I projected onto this person and I didn't need to. They were fine doing their thing or whatever. So lots going on, but you understand what I'm getting at with all of that. Okay, coming back to the Fae. Hmm. Unity, being at one with self, deep in self, and with all things. That is totally that energy of being in that observer state, centered, grounded, contained within your own energy. That is what unity is out here. This is something group 3 that you are learning, that you would benefit from learning, and is only going to help you heal from any emotions you're still holding on to from when you were trespassed upon. And it's also going to help you to set boundaries where they need to be set, where you haven't set them with people. And just keep in mind, when we set boundaries with people and we never have before, it can change a relationship. It can make people fall away. So just know that too. Okay? It's basically you're correcting shit, right? Oh, I knew this card was going to come out. I should have called it. The Bright Mother. She is literally the energy of the mother. Very nurturing, very loving, also very intuitive. She's very like Cancer kind of moon energy too. There's a support happening here. Yeah, I feel like there's also a lot of support from the realms with this energy coming out. Because if you do honor you, right, connecting to self, containing the self, there's so much more support that you can experience that's non-physical from just the spiritual plane, but you also feel so supported within yourself because you're showing up for you, right? Oh, I love it. And also being in this state, like kind of relating it to group 1, like the Teflon observer state, it doesn't mean that you push people away. It doesn't mean you push people away, but I can feel that there's such a protection that comes from that because you're just feeling really safe. People might perceive it that way, that like you're pushing them away, or like, oh, why are they being guarded or whatever? You're not. You're learning how to just be within yourself. And people who don't know how to do that might have an issue with it. This is totally where group 1 has an overlap with you. And it also doesn't mean that you're lacking love either, because this is a very loving energy. This is like the vastness of the heart that I was speaking to earlier. And you can engage with the right people from that place. People, again, who are aligned to you. Can I get one more for group 3? Oh, I love it. I love it. I do also feel like the Bright Mother energy is indicative of the healing that's happening for you and letting go of any hurt or what have you that's you've been holding on to. Okay. Can I get one more for group 3? Woo! Wait, hold on. All of these? Okay. Got a lot. Thaf the Footer. This is a grounded energy. It's basically saying just take time to actually ground and center and be within. That's literally all this is saying. Oh, we might have a little twist of fate going on for group 3. Oh, this is like getting me excited. We have He of the Fiery Sword. This is the divine masculine principle in this deck. There is a divine feminine principle, but it's not here. But it's interesting, we have He of the Fiery Sword and Unity, and then we do have this very feminine mother energy. So there is something going on with your own polarity of your masculine feminine, which makes sense, because when we learn to contain ourselves and go within, we're doing it through the feminine, but it also helps our own masculine energy to show up for ourselves, right? It's like working in harmony in our polarities there. But He of the Fiery Sword, the Himself card, I love the Himself card. The Himself card is like innate, sensual, sexual magic. It also is kind of shamanistic, but he literally represents the procreative force of life. Okay? Mana, if you will. It is the force behind a sperm and an egg meeting, right? It's that kind of energy. And with He of the Fiery Sword. So just very interesting. And then we have the Fairy Godmother. Fairy Godmother can be a little twist of fate that happens here. Sometimes it can represent like a switcheroo, if you will. He of the Fiery Sword also can act very much like almost like Archangel Michael's sword of cutting through things that are not necessary. So needless to say, I feel like you taking this time to go within, right? Contain the self will create that Teflon state that group 1 has, and people who trespass on you or would trespass on you will start to fall away. You may need to establish boundaries with certain people who are already existing in your life. They may stick around, they may fall away. This is also going to be very healing for you in terms of any emotions you're still holding on to, or programs you're still affected by from being trespassed on, any issues with safety and security that are related to family dynamics or inner child stuff. At the same time, there is this very empowered masculine energy that you're harnessing to be able to sit deeper in your feminine energy in this place of unity. Also, at the same time, some of you may have a very unexpected introduction here, okay? Some of you, I can feel it, that there's almost like someone may be popping into your reality unexpectedly, and it is unexpected, and it is a surprise. But I feel like it's only going to happen after you do this work, after you get to that place. Yeah. And it feels, yeah, whoever's coming in, for those are the supplies, very masculine, very intense, but very grounded. And it just is very intriguing. And I feel like this person, again, not everyone's going to experience that, but for those where someone does come in, I feel like they will stir some things in you, and I think they will inspire you and kind of bring some life back to you, is also what I'm getting here. Like, I'm almost getting like oh my God. I can't say that word. I'll just say catalyzation of fire is what I'll say. Igniting. Oh my God, why couldn't I say that word? There's like an igniting of fire and passion that's going to be coming in for you once you do this. You'll experience it either way, but some of you, it may also coincide with meeting somebody. But no matter what, you will all experience that according to these cards. But very exciting. All right, let's get into some tarot and wrap this up. Any messages or insights from group 3? Any messages or insights for group 3? I knew that card was going to come out. Whoo, wow. Ace of Pentacles, beautiful. With the Four of Wands, also beautiful. And then we have the Two of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords. So remember what I said about he of the fiery sword, right? That it also can act as like a cutting through things. And with this bear energy and you learning how to be within yourself, right, and contain yourself, and also having certain relationships and things fall away that make you feel trespassed upon, some of you are needing to make a choice about that, okay? I feel like I'm looking at it like this. Like literally making decisions here. One of the pentacles being this, having a new beginning in something super solid for yourself, which could literally just be a new experience of yourself, a new experience of life. Some of you could be potentially a relationship, but this is like literally two cards that are kind of portal-like. Four of Wands is known as a portal card in the tarot community, but the Ace of Pentacles for me is specifically the only ace that actually relates to moving into a higher timeline or a more evolved experience where there's just more abundance, more newness, different kinds of stability that can be very uplifting and empowering. This is what is available to you. Again, as a consequence of getting within yourself and dealing with this whole being trespassed upon patterns and things, right? So there's that, and you know that, and you're choosing that. But while you're choosing that, there's also a need to make a second choice of the Ten of Swords, of what needs to finally be dead and put in the ground. One of them being this way you've been with yourself where you haven't been contained in your own energy. That's one thing that needs to die. Another, relationships that continue to trespass on you, or even if you were to set boundaries, they would disrespect them. That needs to die, right? Also any any situation as far as like your own emotions and things that are still affecting you in negative ways that you can bring love and nurturing to, that needs to happen, which means that's a death to you not doing that for yourself, not holding yourself in a space of love and compassion. That needs to die. So it's very clear There are things that need to be done, things that you need to stop engaging in, ways of being that are just hurtful for you and hold you back, and stepping towards experiences that are aligned with that, which is awesome. Let's see. Any other final messages or insights for group 3? Yeah, this feels like an invitation. This feels really good. I'm loving that. I'm loving that for you guys. Anything else for group 3? Oh. Okay. There's a little bit of evaluation happening here, which not surprising. So 4 of Cups and 3 of Pentacles. 3 of Pentacles is friends, networks, making plans, orchestrating things with other people. It's like, I think it's actually, what is that? Is it Capricorn? I think it's actually Capricorn energy. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it is. And then 4 of Cups is Cancer. But the 4 of Cups sometimes can be depression or apathy, but it can also be taking time to reflect, taking time to meditate and sit on something. And I do feel like it's, got disconnected for a second. I do feel like it's more about that for you, where you're contemplating your current relationships, you're contemplating your current plans, you're also contemplating what it is you actually want, right? What actually matters to you in terms of friendship, collaboration, and plans that you want to invest your time and energy into. You've got some mixed emotions here, but that makes sense because clearly there are some of those things that are not working for you anymore, that are not okay for you, and there are some that are. There's some that are really promising. It's interesting you have the Ace and the 2 and the 3 of Pentacles here too. So this is just really alluding to that. Remember what I said about the bear medicine too, where it can also represent this medicine of recovery and like being contained while you work through some things. And I feel that here, you might need a bit of time to be isolated, to really get into your emotions, to really discern some of this stuff for yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that either, okay? All right, group 3, I think that's pretty clear. And I feel like that completes the weekly reading for today. And thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for the whole 2 hours. And thank you for liking the video. And if you haven't liked the video yet, please do so other people can get their messages too. I know they would greatly appreciate that. Yeah, so just thank you. I will be so thankful to learn and hold the trespassers at bay. Thank you so much. Oh, you guys are welcome. You're welcome. Yes, the time is needed. I just woke. I wrote in love from Australia. Oh, hi from Australia. I wonder what time it is out there. Thank you so much. Oh, you guys are so welcome. You're so welcome. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and a great day. I am going to post the sign readings today. I meant to do it last night, but I really needed to just yesterday. I was kind of useless yesterday as far as the 3D plane is concerned. But yeah, so those will post, so just know that. And also, if you guys are curious about Patreon, I would highly encourage you to check it out, especially if you guys enjoy early access to sign readings or access to part 2s, or even just like hangouts where we talk about stuff that I can't talk about over here. That also goes on over there. And I do want to do more lives over on Patreon. There's just been a lot of navigating stuff this month, as you guys know. But yeah, so that's it. I don't know why I'm shuffling those cards. Just have it, I guess. So I'm going to go. Again, thank you. Love you guys. See you later. Bye.